miss. They think, okay, you know, these stocks are in the AI market. We might see them kind of do well. But what they miss is that there's so much investment from the US into these companies. And so just watching that with Big Bear AI last quarter, nothing crazy on the revenue, but they came in with a positive net income and their balance sheet increased to nearly $1 billion. So with their market cap at just 2.5 billion and finalizing that acquisition of that AI company they recently acquired, Ask Sage, they're looking to expand more. They just finalized this $250 million acquisition. It's a large acquisition, and you might say, they're making 25 million a year, this company they just bought, right? It's not that good of a deal maybe, but long term that's looking good because look, 16,000 government teams work with Ask Sage. Big Bear didn't acquire this company just to get money. They acquired this company to get more contracts. If we have another government shutdown, I see that comment there, it's possible you see some delayed rallies in the defense market. If the government's staying open at this time, you're probably going to see continued rallies. More deployments on Big Bear, nothing's changed there. We see them getting into a couple dozen international airports, and it's growing as their very scanned biometric technology is collecting millions of data points, and it's AI driven. It's partnered directly with the airlines, but also they're working with TSA as well as Department of Homeland Security. They got some Pentagon. If you think about it, there's a lot of control happening right now from the U.S. U.S. goes Venezuela recently. You got some involvement in the Suez Canal recently. You have the involvement in the Panama Canal, which Big Bear was a part of. They have their computer vision, which I'm not sure if this was fully on the docket as one of the things that they are partnered with on Palantir. Got to look at where that was. But they're monitoring the Panama Canal, so you got things like that. Anyway, Big Bear AI still on a trend. We're expecting them to potentially rally up into that $7 range. They hold above 575 tomorrow. We'll be watching. But before we get there, they still got to make it up to 650. All right. Stock. You're still waiting for your stock cup, says Luis. Next stock we got here is APLD. So if we go over to the data center market, a lot of different companies in the data center market. We've been watching ANET this year. They've been growing significantly. They've had a huge year. APLD, big year, multi-billion dollars. They're still only $6-7 billion market cap, and they got $15 billion plus in data center constructions already lined up for this year. So APLD, it's got some big deals there with CoreWeave, BITF. They're still waiting on more revenues. They've got over a dozen data centers that they're anticipating AI companies to want to buy into and use. And when we ran the math on BITF on how old their data center infrastructure was, so data center markets, fastest growing market really in the world right now. It's what's driving AI, really. It's the backbone of AI. And BITF has a bunch of data center AI enabled factories, you could say, with a bunch of GPUs inside that were originally configured for mining Bitcoin. But when we checked on the GPUs and how old they were and how new they were, the GPUs that they use are still very new. I think like it was 2022. So they could definitely supply some AI compute. So they're currently at that $2.50 level, targeting back up to $3.70 up into this range, which would be a significant increase on BITF potentially. So they're targeting up here to that 350. It's a 35% increase. So we're watching there. And we'll be watching to see if they hold that support level. NBIS is another one. We're watching TSSI. We were trading them last week. They had a nice recovery throughout the end of the week. But let's take a look. APLD. So APLD stock really has had a nice week. They bounced around that $24 range. Without telling me the word yes, can you guys comment whether or not you hold APLD stock? Let me know in the comment section. And if you can tell me if you do, why you do or why you do not hold it. APLD is a company I hold long term. I've been holding them not $3 a share, although we started covering it around $3 a share. I've been holding them since around $8 or $9 a share. I think we're just under $9 a share. And so far, they've made runs up to $40 a share in October. So just really in the last year, they've surged to $40. And then they pulled down recently, but still holding this overall uptrend. So the overall uptrend is like this. You do see them currently at a resistance level. You can kind of see this level back here, kind of around here. You got that resistance back in September of 2025. You get into October, then it was a support through October into November. It was a support, and then you see it as a resistance here in December, and then a resistance in January is where they're at now. Now, here's the thing. They're already holding pretty bullish. So if they continue to rally above about $29 a share, that's what we talked about on Friday, $29 a share, they will have a next target up into this range of around 35, which is a 20% gain. Now, they do have a resistance level, and while they're